gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. When you want to get off that darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. I don't know what it would take to see another way out of here. Lock myself up, I can only glimpse the other world out there. My heart is still burning. Take me on your journey. I remember when you told me to leave it all, come along. We could have gone high if I only knew I was the one to be wrong. My heart is burning.
All right, we are going to get started here in just a few minutes. So we're going to invite you to go ahead and scoot up if there's an empty seat in front of you. We have 2 seats right here, so we're going to invite you to scoot up and fill those. And just a reminder, this is going to be a filmed event. So everyone, check your phones right now. Even if you think you've checked your phone, check it again. Make sure that it is on silent. Also, we will be having a lunch break, but no breaks in between. So before we start recording, make sure you take care of your bio needs if you have any, just so we can avoid any distraction while we're filming. Again, this is going to be a filmed event, so keep that in mind as you're asking questions or keeping it down between you and your neighbor so we can deliver a quality product. So we'll be starting in just a couple of minutes. Again, make sure those phones are on silent. Take care of any bio needs that you have right now, and we'll get started in a few minutes. Thank you so much.
To the sun, which tries to blind our eyes. Oh, we're dancing forever under the beautiful skies. Somewhere over the ocean, a spark just to ignite. I'm stuck in my hometown, waiting for your reply. There's no sound, only silence. You could change everything tonight. This is your chance to do something right. To the memories and photos that remain, still lost in oblivion, no one to show the way. Oh, climbing a mountain to reach my highest goals. You'll never understand how I thought you were the one. Darkness, there's no sound, only silence. You could change everything tonight. This is your chance to do something
All right, everybody. Welcome to Real Wealth, and welcome to the stage, the Pastor of Prosperity, Tracy Roberts. You know what? Sometimes I like to have people introduce me, but if I don't feel like I'm going to be introduced, then I introduce myself when I come into the room. Are y'all excited to be here and to learn some things about real estate? Okay, all right. Okay. Can I get just a couple of shares of why you're sitting in the room? And the reason why I'm asking this question is because time is the only commodity that I really have. Time. And I don't know how much of it I've got. Because the reality is my heart could quit right now and I could fall on the floor and be done. So I don't know how many heartbeats I've got. So by you coming here today and spending your time with us, then you are giving away the commodity, the only commodity that you've got. And we're committed this morning and this whole time to delivering something to you that's going to make your time worth the effort that you put forward. Can I have just a couple of shares on why you are sitting in this room? All right. Alex, tell us.
Oh, lots of reasons. The residual income from rental properties, that sounds awesome. I love designing. I'm already, changing this room up in my head. And I do that to my own house too, and I want to be able to do that and make money.
Awesome. Y'all give it up for Alex. All right. Do we have somebody over here? Yes. Tell us your name.
It's Sharn.
All right. We're going back. So when someone introduces yourself, then oftentimes one of our little tricks is to call out your name, and we're gonna run back to Alex. Alex, tell us your name. I'm Alex. Hey, Alex. All right. Shar, tell us your name.
It's Sharn.
Hey, Shar.
Thank you. So why are you here? I'm here to learn about real estate, but more than anything, I want to learn about money and how money works and make it work for me. The energy of money and, just the craziness of it all. It's just not about flipping houses, but I want to learn about the energy of money and how to make it work for me.
All right, the energy of money. Y'all give it up for the energy of money. That is powerful, and when we get good with money, I'm not here to teach y'all about money today, but you just got me going. I want to talk about money, but anyway. It is a good thing to do, but we're gonna stay focused. And in just a few minutes, I'm gonna be calling up two of my great mentors that I've been working with for over 6 years now, Chris Crone and Stephen Michael Miller, and they have helped me change my stars, as it were, and hopefully they're gonna be able to help you do the same. All right. As I came up, then I kind of introduced myself. My name is Tracy Roberts. Hey, Tracy. All right. And I've got a story, just like everybody sitting in here has a story. You've got a story. There's a reason why you came here and you are here in this house today. There's a reason. And I may not know that reason. You may not know that reason. But when you get up early and you come all the way from Wyoming, I think that you got kind of a reason, because people wouldn't get up out of bed early and drive all the way from the wilds of Wyoming to be here. I have had an opportunity, as I said, to work with Chris and Michael for a long time, and we've done some real estate together. One of the things when I first started, I bought a house, and this was like one of the first houses that I participated in. They did everything for me. I love that because I wasn't really interested in real estate other than what it could do for me. That's why I was interested in it. And so I loved the program, and they set it up, and they did everything for me and got me houses. And this one particular house in Las Vegas, I got it for $90,000. And that was in the trough, Because if you understand cycles, then you always make money in real estate if you understand the cycles. And I never get excited when the real estate goes up or down because I understand cycles, and there's two different ones that if you are good with, then you know that we're never going to see the 80-year cycle in our lifetime come around again. But I participated in that. So I got a house for $90,000. And then, now I'm a country boy from East Texas, and you might be able to trick me for a minute, but you can't. And all of a sudden, they wanted me to have $215,000 insurance on that house. And I was just like, what? I bought this house for $90,000. Y'all are trying to rip me off. I called up the insurance company. I was going to let them have it. Finally, this lady, she listened to me for a minute, and then she said, Mr. Roberts, we don't care how much you bought that house for. If your house burned down, and you maybe should hope that it does, and I'm like, what? It would cost us $215,000 to put that house back on the property. And at that moment in time, I went, I think I made a good deal. I can do that math. And those houses have been paying me month after month, year after year. When you create residual income, whether somebody is putting any money in my pocket today, then I'm getting paid to be here. I'm getting paid because my houses are paying me, whether I'm sitting on a beach, whether I'm sleeping, whether I'm awake. Guess what? They even pay me when I'm at church. And so that's what I love about residual income, because you put a lot of effort in up front, and then you're able to receive the benefit and the blessing from it forever. And that's why I like it. That's why I love real estate. I love what it's done for me. It's allowed me to travel. And they're going to be talking about setting up LLCs. Can I tell you something that's cool about an LLC? Are you? Okay. Well, see, Lance, an LLC. I'm going to talk to Lance for a minute because y'all aren't hearing me. But anyway, all right. So there are rules when you set up an LLC. And one of the rules and requirements by law is that LLC holds a board meeting annually. Required by law. And so because it's required by law, then the money that real estate is making me during the year, then sometimes what we'll do is we'll have a board meeting in Mexico or in Honduras or in Florida. Required by law, you understand. I mean, this is required by law. And so because it's required by law, then I have to get the board members to the place that we're going to have the meeting. That sounds like a business. Well, but it's required. And so oftentimes at our annual meeting, what we have is the main subject is where are we going to hold the next year's annual meeting at? And I happen to have 7 members of the board. There's 7 members of the board, and so I have to get them there and do all of those kind of things. And so there are benefits to real estate that you don't get in other places. And I love them, and hopefully you're going to be clear about those kind of things. Over the years, we've been able to purchase, I think, at this moment, I just sold a house back in the summer, so I own 7 properties. The house that I live in is one of those 7 properties. But real estate has allowed me to do some things that I've never been able to do. Randy, back here, he is like one of the cool people that puts together deals, and for years and years, I have never really partnered very much because I wanted to do it for myself. And now I'm learning, and finally, it's taken a long time, but I'm learning that partnering is the place where wealth can be made. And so you're going to be learning some things about partnering that you may not have known before. And we're going to be rocking and rolling. I'm going to encourage you. It looks like we got note papers out. Y'all are ready to take notes. Just keep your mind open, your heart's alert, and ready to go. And we're gonna take you somewhere today that you might not have ever gone. I'm here as a student today. Can you hear me? I'm here as a student today. I'm here to learn. And because I'm here to learn, then and believing that I'm going to walk out of here with some new knowledge that I haven't had before. And so we're going to be calling up just in a half a second. We're going to be calling up Chris Crone and Stephen Michael Miller to come to the stage and to get this day started in a powerful, powerful way. I am excited for you maybe more than you might be excited for yourself. Because if you can learn and you can apply the things that you're hearing here, then it's going to give you an opportunity and maybe a thought that has never entered into your heart. And I'm going to encourage you to be asking questions in your mind all the time. If you don't understand something, ask a question. When we're on break and you thought that you got something but didn't, then ask a question. The reason why is because they had shown me how to set up these LLCs and do all of these wonderful things. And I'd heard this message for like 10 times. And then one day we were at a meeting and I was learning it again. And when I started learning it, then I was like, oh my gosh. I spent all that money to set up these separate LLCs and put all of these houses in different places. And I haven't changed the title from my name to the LLC's name. And so all of the things that I had done, that had been put into place, were of no effect at that moment because I hadn't taken one last step. And immediately I got on the phone and I called the lawyer's office down in Cedar City that I use, and I was just like, oh my gosh, we need to get this changed. Can you do it right now? And they said, yeah, we'll get it done within the day, and we were, and then I went, wow. So just know that you're going to be learning some techniques, some deals. We've got a bunch of handouts that we're going to be giving you, so you're not going to just be walking out of here with, wow, that was a lot of stuff, and I don't remember any of it. You're going to be able to have the details that you need. So, without further ado, can y'all welcome with a big round of applause Stephen Michael Miller and Chris Crone.
All right, friends. Thank you.
All right. Now, they think that I'm done, and I am almost done.
Okay.
I am really almost done. They're going to introduce themselves to you, but we have had opportunities to travel together. Stephen and I have had opportunities to preach from the same pulpit, and y'all going, well, how can two Mormon boys be preaching in Baptist church? Well, guess what? Sometimes that happens because I know some people, and we've been able to, I know some people, all right. We've been able to do some things that bless people all around the country. And now you are going to get to learn from these two gentlemen how you can bless your world. And so I'm excited to hear. I am here as a student this morning. And so thank you both for being here.
Guys, let's give it up for Tracy. Thank you. Tracy is one of thousands of individuals that has been able to work with Stephen and I over the years in teaching and empowering people about real estate and helping them really win and succeed at it. And I just want to take a moment and tell you about Stephen because you're going to hear from him a lot today. You know, Stephen was the very, very first person that I thought of when my real estate started getting out of hand.
That's a good thing. It's a good out of hand.
It was a good out of hand, right? I mean, I'm talking about real chaos of abundance stuff. Because when you learn how to say yes to the right things and you learn how to say no to the right things, you flip those switches and you create a combination where more of what you want starts coming about. And so in my life, I was just wrapping up my college degree. I was wrapping up my full-time work at a job. My real estate was taking off. And saying yes to real estate at that point in my life was a really good thing. Saying no to other career paths was a good thing. It was really creating this crucible opportunity, but it quickly got to a point where I needed help. And I had been calling Stephen actually for years. We had met actually serving a 2-year Christian mission. That's a place where you can meet people and have friendships for life. And even though our relationship over the almost last 2 decades has had its trials and difficulties, I feel honored that I get to stand with this man today. He's an incredible father of his 7 incredible children. He's an amazing husband. And who he's been for me and how he's shown up for me has often been as a guide and a personal counselor in my life, often a spiritual guide and mentor. But Stephen also has acquired over the years a profound level of experience, knowledge, and wisdom on successful financial principles and real estate training. And so Stephen was the very first person I brought in, and the amount of faith it must have taken to move his entire family from Florida to come to Utah where we could work together was probably not an easy decision. But as I look back on my life and look at some of the decisions that I'm grateful for and the ones that I regret, this is one of those decisions that I look back and say, if I had to do it all over again, I would have done it a million times this way. I'm thankful for my friendship with Stephen, and I'm really grateful for the training that he's going to be imparting to you guys today. Will you guys please give it up for this man?
Thank you. So just a couple words here about Chris as we're getting started. Today we're here to talk about partnering. And if you've ever heard anyone talk about their partnering experience, I know often you hear about the horror stories, right? People don't like to talk about the great stories so much. They keep that quiet to themselves most of the time. But the horror stories, they let out the bag all the time. And they say, don't partner with your friends and don't partner with your family. And if you're going to partner, be really careful and know what you're going to get into before you get into it. And 1/3 of what I just said is probably true. In other words, know what you're going to get into before you get into it. But this whole idea of not partnering with friends and family, I can tell you, I am where I am today because I partnered with friends and family. Chris Crone, many of you don't know maybe all the backstory and the back history. He talked about a little bit of it, but when we met, if you've ever kind of run into a space, met somebody and felt like you've known that person for a really, really long time, that's really what it was like when I first met Chris. We were in Berlin, Germany, and we were on a train. We had met each other, and we were on a train heading out to this specific little tiny town. And we're sitting on the train, and we're just talking about our dreams and our goals and the things that we wanted to do as we were out there. And it was like, you know, not to get too cheesy or corny, but it was almost like an electric conversation. We were on the same wavelength. And in that moment, and several moments beyond that, we had these conversations of, man, if we could ever work together professionally, what would that look like? Like, let's see if we can do this. And so when Chris called me up the first time, and you know, after several conversations, as we were talking about what this could look like for us to partner up together, it just made sense to me. And although all the naysayers and everyone says, you know, be careful, and oh, you're going into business with yourself and with a buddy and with a friend, and be careful because that could ruin your relationship, you know, for me it was, no, this is probably the smartest move that I can make in my life, to get outside of just myself, just my own resources, just my own perspective, and hitch my wagon to an individual that I respect, to an individual that I love, and an individual that has made some amazing choices in business. And so I'm excited to be here. I'm always a student. I think Chris would say the same thing. We're both always students, but we get to be here in a space of also helping you know how you can further your life through appropriate partnerships. And I think one of the best ways to do that is going to be to, first of all, allow Chris to kind of go through some of his story. But if you could, let's just give Chris one more big round of applause for getting this put together and being here for everybody as well.
Thank you, guys. So I want to start with, got a lot of content to teach today, but there's something on my heart that I just want to start with. Why? I listened to some of your whys that you shared with Tracy about why you're here, and I want to share mine with you. Real estate done correctly has the ability to bless a lot of lives. It is fundamental in this country to fulfilling the American dream. People want a place to call home. That's not something everyone can say in other countries. We have something very special going on here. We're also a very entrepreneurial society, which means you can become a self-made person. And when I started originally creating wealth, it was for a very selfish intent. I don't want to work at a job 40 to 60 hours a week and someone telling me what to do with my life. And that entrepreneurial spirit was born out of fire because I had sworn I would never be in business for myself. I watched how hard my dad worked, and my dad was brainwashing me growing up saying, son, do not be in business for yourself. I want you to get a good education. I never had that. My dad never graduated beyond elementary school education. He did learn this master craftsman ability in his trade of being able to build homes and even create furniture. But my dad told me, he said, son, the golden ticket is for you to get a college degree and work for somebody else. And so when I was in college pursuing that path, I quickly started finding out that all the paths that were out there, I just couldn't find one for me. There's a lot of paths that you learn about in college that are perfect for people. But I wasn't finding my fit until I had an experiment with entrepreneurship. And all of a sudden I realized, maybe I'm going to be more like my dad than he thought. But that selfish intention was, I can't find my place in the normal workplace environment. And I use this funny word selfish because it really, financial independence wasn't about other people. It was about the pain that I felt in my life because I didn't like how I felt working at a job that I didn't believe in. It was a good company, it was a good job, but it just wasn't for me. And I couldn't find anything else that was resonating. But the man that stands before you today, yeah, I retired at the age of 26. I've become accustomed to a certain level of financial wellness in life. I've been able to drive the cars that for some are dream cars. I've been able to travel around the world. But I stand before you today a humble man with a different perspective of what wealth is really all about. And to avoid this sounding cliche in any way, shape, or form, friends, we have been taught by our society that it is about us and that we need to accumulate wealth, and then there's this small cross-section of society that believes in philanthropy and doing good. They also war and rage against money, and I find myself literally at this point in my life, not last week, not last month, but at this point, with a very, very, very fresh perspective on where I stand in relation to the resource of the universe. I have an absolute faith that my needs will always be met because I've developed those skills a long time ago. But what's called upon me now is a stewardship to really think way beyond myself and way outside of myself. What if these gifts and abilities, what if the training you received today could be consecrated to something far more meaningful than financial independence? I will not frown upon it, and I will not call that a bad goal. I won't call it wrong. I can't judge it because all of our hearts are different and I can't know your hearts, just like you probably can't know mine. But I will tell you today that my intention in being here with Stephen and with our team and live streaming this and filming this and making this available to the world is because there's a far greater good that needs to happen in it. Today, this goes beyond a conversation of real estate. This is actually teaching the most profound knowledge that I possess as a business person. There is any dream that I ever have, it's going to get funded with the knowledge I'm going to share with you today. And I just want to get permission to get a little vulnerable for a moment. Can I do that? I started my year off and I set a goal that terrified me. I decided that this is the year I become a philanthropist. This is the year that I put my needs aside because I just believe that they're going to be met. But this is a year to set sights so great and so big and so out there to really figure out what does my potential look like in this universe? What does it look like for me to become who I'm supposed to be? And I set a goal. I was thinking about the charitable contributions I've given in the past. And friends, the reality is they're minor. They're 10 to 15% of the money I've made is something I've given to charity. And frankly, that has been easy and simple. That never felt like a stretch. It never felt challenging. And so when I sat and really looked at who do I want to become, who do I want to be, what is the legacy here? It's no longer about me. And so I said, okay, let's up the charitable contributions to this. And I multiplied it. And when I multiplied it, I got scared and I thought, that's a lot of excess income. And then I thought, but Chris, is that even a reflection of who you are? I said, I don't know. So I added a 0 to the end. And then I really freaked out. And as much as I felt fear and doubt and discomfort, I also had a confirmation in that moment that that was the right way for me to play. This year, I'm attempting to do something I've never attempted before. I don't know if I'm going to screw it up or mess up, because I've done that so often in life with so many things. But I am going to get up and I'm going to try. And I'm going to do my best. And how it's going to happen is directly related to the information you're going to be learning here today. You got to dream. This is the most profound way I know to make it happen. Who wants that information? Say aye.
Aye.
All right, you guys ready to play? Yes. You ready to take a lot of notes? Oh, yes. Is it okay if we get hyper oracle and need to do like a lot of detailed training stuff? Who are my visionaries in the room? Don't shut down. Stay with me. Keep playing, okay? I want all of you to put your oracle hat on today, because today, Stephen said it. We've got a lot to teach you. We got a lot of information to share. So put yourself in a mental capacity to be able to receive it, because I can tell you that this information has changed my life, and I've duplicated it so many times over. It can do the exact same thing for you, and I pray and I hope that it does. You guys with me? Yes. Okay, Stephen's right. I need to just create a little context, because without context, this might seem really nebulous. I want to talk about what partnering really is and what it really means. So some of you have heard this before. I'm going to go back and share it, because I'm hoping that you're going to see a pattern for your life. When I first got started, I did not have money, I had debt, and I didn't have people that believed in me. I actually had a lot of people that looked at me, brothers, siblings, even parents, deeply concerned, like, Chris, what are you doing? You're going outside the box. We've been brainwashing you for all these years. What are you doing? My friends were really concerned. And it's like, oh, it's so weird to be in this world where I want to do something different, and different means bad. And I learned that society, and also just human nature, is that change is scary. But you know what? Change and scary outside the comfort zone is the only place where real risk and real reward exist. Guaranteed risk is staying in the comfort zone, and the things that I wanted to create were outside of it. So this happened directly because I caught the bug, and I knew it was inspired, it was divine. Chris, you need to do real estate investing. I'll never forget the moment I caught that bug. I won't share that story, but I will tell you that I had set my sight on a focus. And by the time I bought my very first property, listen, being broke and not having money, it took me 14 months to save up $5,000 in my bank account. That was a lot of hard work and a lot of daily intention to create. And then the 8-ball would come and I'd get behind it, and then I'd have to shell out the money. I'm like, I gotta fight and I gotta get up, I gotta make this happen. 14 months later, I had enough money in my bank account for a tiny little down payment on a little house. And I just want to draw this up because I want you to understand that even though I'm using the words real estate, you can superimpose it with any business idea. The house that I bought on 800 North in Provo had a value of $140,000, and I purchased it for $110,000. Correction here, it wasn't $140,000, it was $150,000. There was a $40,000 gap, that's called equity, between what it was worth and what I was buying it for. And so a 3.5% down payment on $110,000 was just under $4,000. So the $5,000 I saved up was enough in the eyes of the bank, and my first bank that I had banked at my whole very short life turned me down. The next bank turned me down. I finally found a bank, like literally it was just like one day left on this, and I executed the contract, I signed the loan, I was scared I was terrified. I didn't have anyone walking me through this. But when I bought this house, my net worth went up $40,000. It had a basement apartment that paid my mortgage, so because of the basement, I was living for free. And by the way, when you're a poor college kid and your biggest expense is rent outside of tuition, and all of a sudden your net worth increases $40,000 and you start living for free, this was one of those moments of aha. It was like, wait a second here. I just busted my chops to make $20,000 all year working 40 hours a week. You telling me in one purchase, leveraging $4,000 that I increased my net worth $40,000? How many of you think for a young college kid that might be exciting? It was thrilling for me. I don't care if you like real estate or not. Reality is we have very narrow gap of passions and gifts and abilities, but you got to surround yourself with the people that have these things. My gift and passion just happened to be for real estate. So I started training and learning. 12 months later, I used this equity in a home equity line of credit. Don't worry about that terminology. And I used it to buy a house in Pleasant Grove on 1100 North. And I got a really, really good deal on this house. I was a deal hunter. In truth, I was a cheapskate. I always wanted the deal on everything. Anyone else that way? You're like, I don't know if I want to raise my hand to cheapskate, but I'm just saying. So I was like, I want a deal. I found a house that had a value of $250,000, and it was a house that I purchased for $150,000. This worked. Now, this was a way bigger, way nicer house than what I lived in, but it wasn't for free. I was delaying gratification. This isn't about me. This is about investing in my tomorrow. And the equity from this property bought it for me, which was really cool because I still wasn't making a lot of money, and coming up with money took time. Then I did my third house. And ultimately, I used the equity in my homes to make this third house possible. And here's what it really equated to at the end of the day. By the time I had my third house, my net worth had grown to $200,000. So a $200,000 net worth, that's not money I can take to the bank and spend because you have to sell things and do different things. But I was living for free and I had a residual income well over $1,000 a month. Now, by the way, when tuition for college every semester is a few $1,000, if you have $1,000 residually and you're living for free and you have a net worth of $200,000, how many of you see that for a college kid being kind of a unique, extraordinary situation? Okay, well, this is where partnering comes in. And when I bought my first house, my father-in-law, that I love and respect dearly, who I also wanted to people please because I wanted him to approve of his daughter's choice, he was very concerned. He's like, I didn't buy my first house till I was 29 years old after I got my higher education. I got my master's in business. What are you doing getting a house when you don't even have a major and you don't know what you're going to do with your life? There was some judgment there that just said, I'm deeply concerned for you. I'm like, great, I disappointed my father-in-law. When I went to go buy my second house, he got flustered. Are you guys getting a divorce? Why do you need two houses? You can't live in two houses. Like, it's not even in a tropical location. Why are you buying this? He didn't get it. He didn't understand that this house had equity and that I was going to get a $600 a month residual income every month. And this was just a means to putting my money to work for me instead of me working for money. Make sense? Who's with me so far? Say aye. Okay. So then when I bought my third house, it was almost as if I could feel him just throw his hands in the air like, yep, I got a crazy son-in-law. I don't get this kid. I don't know why he's doing what he's doing. And then the day, I'll never forget where I was standing in this house when I had a phone call that changed my life forever. I had found my fourth home. It wasn't time to pull the equity out of my homes to be able to buy it, and I needed $20,000, and I didn't have it. And I was so frustrated because I'm like, I found the right deal, and I don't have the money for it. So I felt frustrated. And then I get a phone call from my father-in-law. It was strange for him to call my home with me and my wife and ask to put me on the phone. So I said, yes. And he said, Chris, I just came back from a trip from the Bahamas, and I had a dream. And in the dream, you and I were doing real estate. And I thought, this is really spooky. And then he said, tell me what you're doing. I could hear the scribbling of pen and paper on the other side of the phone as I walked through the numbers of what I was doing, and he was doing math. I had no idea what that math was, but how it ultimately came out was he had calculated the ROI, and he saw how well I was doing. He saw how rapidly I was growing, and then he said this, what's your next move? I said, oh, I got this house I want to do. I need $20,000, and I just guess I can't do it because I just need to wait. How many of you here have ever said, I need to wait because I don't have the money? So I said, I just need to wait because I hadn't learned this yet. And then he said this. If I gave you the money and we became partners and like 50-50, like you do the work, you do the heavy lifting, you do the whatever the heck you're doing, and I give you the money, And when we sell it, we'll split it 50-50. What do you think? It was the coolest idea I had ever heard. I said yes. He wired me the money. It was such a bizarre thing. I did the deal. Several months later, sold it, made over $20,000. He got $10,000. I got $10,000. And in that short period of time, that was equivalent to him making 100% on his money. And do you know what he said after that deal? If it worked once, we should do it again. Long story short, my father-in-law, we have probably transacted close to 50 properties now, just that partnership alone. And I'll tell you that when I bought that fourth and that fifth and that sixth house, I really believed that I had gotten lucky. It's like, this couldn't have happened again in a million years. And I remember being a senior student at BYU. This was my final year, and I was in a class that I was having a very easy time getting a good grade in. I did not push myself in college, meaning I got great grades because I chose a major that you had to get good grades in. It was marriage, family, human development. And my wife and I shared this major. And it was, well, I really can't do that as a profession, but that'll benefit our personal life. And I have no idea what degree to get that will help me career-wise, so let's just do this. And besides, if I ever wanted to go back to college for an MBA, I would need to have a good GPA, so this will mean that I'll have good grades. Guys, it's a very intuitive major. It's like on the test. When a child does something wrong, should you beat them or should you talk kindly to them, A or B, or all of the above? I'm like, just saying, this was easy A for me, okay? This is not testing my mental capacity very much. So I was in class. Again, this was one of those moments I'll never forget. I was sitting on the back row because my professor was pontificating about something, and I allowed myself to start daydreaming because I thought, I got 1 year left of college. And now I have 9 homes, and I own these ones, and then I'm 50-50 partnered on those, which means I'm only making half the money, but we're doing a lot of real estate because I don't have to put the money in. Does that make sense, by the way? Stephen, how do you say it? Half of something is better than all of nothing?
That's right.
How many of you think that half of something is better than all of nothing? Say aye. Aye. Okay, well, I thought that it was pretty good too, but I thought, I'm going to be done with college, and then I still got this job that I'm doing. I want to be freed from this job. I was jealous that my wife was going to be stay-at-home mom with kids and everything. I was like, what if I were to be a stay-at-home dad with the kids? So I thought, I need to go faster. And I thought, I don't know how to go faster. I'm buying all that I can. I'm buying all I can with my one partnership. And that's when I had this strange idea. What would happen if I had more father-in-laws? It was a sincere moment. I was not thinking about polygamy or polyandry or whatever that's called. It was this idea of, I got so lucky, was it luck? Was it luck? Was it destined? Was it fated? Was it created? I didn't know because I felt like it was just happening. And I thought, you know what? I wonder if I can duplicate it. So right then I pulled out my pen and paper and I thought, who could my father-in-laws be? Well, I got 9 houses, and there's some people in the community that I chit-chat with from time to time, some of my neighbors and people that I know, that they're curious. There's this young kid, they're doing all this real estate, he's a college kid. And so I thought to myself, you know what, I wonder if I went to lunch with these individuals and shared with them what I was doing, if they might want to partner with me too. And by the way, did my father-in-law take a big bet on me? He took a big bet on me because had I ever had a partner in my life, and I had only done how many homes? So my father-in-law took a really big bet, but at this point, something had changed in the last 2 years getting these 9 homes. What had changed? I wasn't professional. Did I know more of what I was doing? Did I have more experience? And did I have experience with one partner? And did that partnership create confidence? I actually felt like if I took these 4 individuals out to lunch and showed them a business plan, very important part of today is Stephen and I are going to give you that business plan. If I give them this business plan, then maybe they'll write things on a piece of paper the way my father-in-law was and see the returns that I'm getting, and maybe they'll want to partner with me. So that week I called them all. Cell phones were actually a new deal. There wasn't texting or anything like that. I was so excited. I used my business as my excuse with this write-off to have my own cell phone. So I called them up. I made a lunch appointment, and within 1 week, I met with all 4 of them. And I showed them my real estate. I showed them my numbers, and I showed them my track record. And all these individuals, one was a doctor, and one was an eye doctor, one was an executive at a company. I can't remember the fourth, but they had good careers, likely good incomes. They had probably been good 401kers and IRAs. And I said, well, I don't know what'll happen, but let's meet. So I shared them this. They looked at my numbers, and do you know what all four of them decided to do? All four of them became partners. I was now buying a home every single month. And by the time I graduated, I met my goal. I wanted 25 properties, I wanted a 6-figure residual income, and I wanted to quit my job. And that's exactly what happened. Over the years, Stephen and I, we talk about partnering a little here and a little there, but the reality is we have never made a concerted effort to make partnering happen. And I want to share why. Stephen and I, we went down a path where we decided, you know what? If you try to teach people how to do real estate, sometimes they'll do it and sometimes they won't. What if we corralled all the people interested in real estate, qualified them, made sure they had some money for a down payment, and what if we just did it for them? And Stephen and I went on a 10-year crusade, helping 3,500 individuals do nearly $1 billion worth of real estate, and the pitch was really simple. This is the money, this is what you can make, we don't trust you, so we'll do it for you, and you make all the money. How many of you like that? It's pretty cool. There's only one problem. As cool as it was to help 3,500 people have this incredible experience, there were people getting cut out left and right that were in a situation like me or Stephen, starting with nothing. Who were we eliminating with that business plan? 93% of the population. Not enough money in a 401k or IRA to be able to transact real estate. Not enough money in savings, not enough in home equity, or too scared. And Stephen and I this last year have been on an interesting journey together. Really the last 6 months, and it's been growing and escalating, and it has been building to this moment with you right now. Some of you may not know what a big deal this is for us, because this is our first official approach to share with you what we have learned that has enabled people with no resources, no money, no credit, to be able to defy the odds, rise up, and give birth to real estate, businesses, and to become a self-made person that is empowered. That's what we're doing with all of you today. That is the moment. So, I'm excited for you guys. I don't know what you'll do with this knowledge and information, but Stephen and I are opening the doors. We're going to give it all to you. Today, we're going to give you our business plan. Today, we're going to be, do you know how much you have to pay to put together an LLC when you meet with a lawyer? $500 to $1,000. Stephen and I today, we're actually going to give you our entire LLC lawyer-proof system as a bonus for free. Go set up as many businesses as you want. We'll show you exactly how to do it, make it happen. We want to give you as much value as we possibly can. We're only asking 2 things of you. How many things? 2. Here's the first thing. Use this knowledge responsibly. Do not become one of the people that say, oh, I know that, but are not applying it. That's the world, unfortunately, that we live in. There's a lot of good intention out there, but there's often very poor execution. And execution is everything. Execution is what? Everything. So Stephen and I, we're going to do what we can today during this training, even ongoing after, to help you execute and build and grow and get your ideas out there. That's the first thing, is use the knowledge responsibly. How many of you can commit to doing that? Say aye. Aye. Awesome. Here's the second thing. This is a personal wish. Elevate your why. If I could go back to speak with a very young, dumb Chris, I would say financial freedom is a good goal. Being free is an amazing goal. Being free to live your life and live your passion is a good goal. But there's a better one. Think of the people that you can genuinely and truly bless by your growth. For me, the purpose of getting is to give. It's the real reason of getting. I'm at a place in my life, I don't need more. And this last week, someone sat down with me. In the moment, it was a perfect spiritual mentor moment, and they said, when is it enough? And that thought plagued me with an answer that wasn't, I couldn't find a sufficient answer inside of me until I realized enough is enough. And I don't need to be any more or any less just true to who I truly am. I have a very spiritual definition of who I am as a human being, which means then that the only reason of more, the only reason to get, is not personal edification. The personal reason to get is to give. This last week we lost John Huntsman Sr. Tracy informed me that barefoot to billionaire, this man had documented on 3 different occasions, created $1 billion, gave it all away with the faith and trust to rebuild and do it again. And right now this world is in need of people that have more pure and more righteous desires. I believe there's so much good that we can do in the world, and the knowledge that I'm giving you is dangerous because you can use it to gratify the ego, or you can use it to do a tremendous good. My neighbor, I live in a really nice house with a really nice neighborhood, and my neighbor that I've done some business with, I was talking to him on Sunday, and we were having a little chat, and when I met this individual 10 years ago, he was somebody in the community. He was a titan of industry. In our local community, he was in charge of a very large corporation. This person had gone on to do great things, and he said, Chris, there was a time in my life when I could ask any important individual in our community to sit down with me, and they would have all made time for me. He says, now, a book I'll never write, but is in my heart, is The Art of Becoming Irrelevant. Right now, I'm financially set. Why gain? Why get more? This is really about giving. This is about giving back. So I just want to impress upon you today to really evaluate what's going to drive you, because this morning I was lying in bed, my wife woke up because she saw me crying. Because I was reviewing that number of a goal that is so terrifying and so big, but I've chosen to become absolutely certain that I will stop at nothing this year until I get it, until I can give in that manner. And I still don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but I feel my soul being twisted and contorted and changed, my mindset being rebuffed to become the person that can make that possible. I have never had a why in my life that took my breath away the way this one does. Because I know what financial freedom is like, and I know how good it feels, but there really is a higher plane. Connect yourself to a reason so big that it pushes you and it motivates and it calls forth the best parts of you. Because entrepreneurship, which is really a lot of what we're talking about today, it is a spiritual journey. It's a quest where people will point fingers at you, they'll point out your flaws, they'll sometimes put you on pedestals, they'll correct you, and they'll often hold you to a standard of perfection. And it is a refiner's fire, and I wouldn't choose any other way. But the more pure your why and intention and reason is, the easier you're going to make your journey for yourself. So just take a moment right now, 60 seconds, to pull out your pen and paper, and I want you to take this minute or two and contemplate. What is a why that would drive you and push you, that feels good and fulfilling and purpose-driven? It calls to you, it scares you, that you would be willing to put on the line so that you have a good enough reason for the success that this program can create for you. Take that minute and do that right now. just out of curiosity and by raise of hands, how many of you are finding something that really moves and motivates you? How many of you are having some bold, daring moments and risking to dream again? How many of you are finding some reasons that really motivate you? You doing that? For those of you online watching? Perfect. All right. So we have a lot to train on. I would love to give you 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to invite you to put a star by this and to come back here and to dedicate as much time necessary in thought and pondering so that you find a why big enough to take your breath away. Deal? Yes. Deal? Yes. All right, good. So before I bring Stephen up to talk about this next segment, what I want to do is I want to just let you know what you're going to witness happen today. Obviously, Stephen and I, we have a tremendous background in real estate, but the real world application of this course goes far beyond real estate. Because what we're going to share with you, I've applied to real estate. I have had dozens of partners in my life, but I've also been able to create that in business. This is the thought that I'd invite you to write down. Proximity is power. You need to put yourself in proximity to individuals that possess the resources and abilities that you lack. And that's what forms partnerships. We go at life as if we're all alone and head down and I got to do it by myself. But the reality is when you have no leverage in your life other than you leveraging your time, no matter how good or talented, no matter how many gifts you've been blessed with, your results will always remain deeply insignificant and they will be turned inward in a somewhat selfish way because an individual that is super talented and uses all of those gifts to create and create and create with no leverage will generally only create enough for their own needs. But when you start amassing real resource, not money, people, the greatest resource of all, and you start pulling people together, combined in a dream and in a vision, or those that also have financial resources or credit or skill sets, teamwork makes the dream work, right? And that's exactly, it's so powerful for you to understand that the only way this information will be useful to you is when you open your heart and mind to people. Stephen said it. Raise your hand if you've ever had your trust broken or betrayed by another human being. Welcome to being human. I'd love to say that you're special, but you're not in this regard. We all get to have our hearts broken. We all get to develop mistrust, and then we get to learn in the end that it comes back to learning how to trust who again? Yeah, this is your journey. This is that spiritual journey of entrepreneurship that Stephen and I are talking about. So today, even though we could talk about so many different things, we're going to talk about the thing we know really well, which is real estate. We're going to give you a business plan based on real estate. We're going to use real estate as an example of a beautiful application model for this. But as we do, every principle you see witnessed transposes perfectly into any business stream. For example, who here has a dream that's going to take money and people? Who's willing to share one, just out loud? What do you got? Okay, you want to be a mentor. That's going to take some training and some resource, right? So you're going to have to bring some people into your life to make that happen. Excellent. Who else? Whole health, wealth, and physical improvement. So you've got a dream of being able to help other people with what you know currently about the body. And by the way, is it going to take some resource to make that happen? Okay, this business plan today is for you. Every time I say real estate, Quintum, I'm also talking about this whole health body vision that you have. Who else has a dream? Perfect. Turning tenants into landlords. That's a beautiful, guys, give it for Felicia and our individuals. These are really great gifts and dreams. Whether your goal is to become a mentor, you want to do something in the health industry, or it's real estate related, this is the business plan approach that I take every single time. And that's what's brought me into the world of nutraceuticals and health and building communities and personal mentoring and real estate, YouTube, all these different things. Everything that I do is all built on a foundation called partnering. Called what? Partnering. So we're going to use real estate today, and I want to invite you to dive deep, do a deep dive as we tear open into that and as you look at it so that you can really understand how those principles have the broad application to any dream that you possibly want. Deal? Guys, friends, Stephen is going to go ahead and further this conversation. Again, we're going to jump into that technical, but Stephen's going to hit some of the mindset that is required first to really make this dream happen. So please give it up for Stephen Miller.
Thank you. So, good. Thank you. What I want you to do right now is with your pen and papers out, I want you to just to close your eyes for just a moment before you begin writing. Just close your eyes for just a moment. And I want you to imagine the dreams that you have had. Chris started this conversation. We heard from a few of you of what your dreams are. But I want you to go back even to the time where maybe you were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And I want you to imagine the dreams that you had created for yourself in your mind. The big dreams. I'm talking about the big things. Get back there. What was it that you wanted? What was it that you craved? What was it that you were going to get after? Maybe you wanted to be a doctor. Maybe you wanted to be a stunt man or woman. I don't know. Maybe that was mine. I wanted to be a stunt man. Maybe you wanted to build an organization. Maybe you wanted to be an entrepreneur, a veterinarian. I don't know. Whatever that dream was. Maybe you wanted to go to the moon. You want to be an astronaut. I want you to go back to those moments and think about how you felt when you would imagine those goals and those dreams. Imagine what that did to you physically. Imagine the feeling that would course through your veins as you would think about these different things. And just to let that feeling to sit in you for just a moment. You see, for years, Chris and I have said, if you want something done right, don't do it yourself. We've said that a lot. I'm going to change that today just a little bit. And how I'm going to change that is going to incorporate you back into the picture for a moment, okay? If you want something done right, don't do it all by yourself. Partner. This is what we're here to talk about today, is partnering. And by the way, as great as this information is, and as great and as deep as we're going to go on the technical stuff, until you have a clear vision and a clear idea of what you need help with, you're still going to just sit there and you'll go home and sit on this information. So my desire for you, my hope and dream for you is that you take this information after today and you have something to move forward on. You're ready to take some steps. So what is it that you want to take steps on? What is that big idea? That $1 million or $1 billion idea? Or better yet, what is that idea that's going to help 1 million people or 1 billion people? So get clear on what that is in your mind. Understand it. If you got it right now, let's take 60 seconds. Just write down. Do a quick free write. Those of you that are watching this right now, just do a quick free write on what your big dream is. 60 seconds. Go ahead. As you're writing, just let that feeling continue to flow through you. Get out of your mind. Forget the doubts for a moment that are coming up. Just set them aside. Let's do 10 more seconds. What is that big goal and want? All right. Let's wrap it up. Now you can continue working on that absolutely after the fact, and I encourage you to. This is something that you should be doing every single day as you're looking to grow in what you want to do and grow this huge dream of yours. You're going to want to think about this every single day. So I want to do something that I actually didn't plan on doing today. This is going to be a review for some of you, but for some of you, this is going to be brand new. And because we're talking about the foundation of partnership, and the foundation of partnership is getting outside of ourselves. First of all, believing that it can come to fruition. And once you believe that it can come to fruition, it's gathering those people around you that are going to help you to build and to grow this. So I want to talk about the foundation here for just a moment. So in our lives, we have experiences, and this is our past, And this is our future. And this is our present. And again, I'm going to invite you to look at this with new eyes, even if you've seen this before. Look at this and view this in terms of, how do I partner to grow my big dream? How do I partner to do that? Whether that's in real estate or outside of real estate, doesn't matter. But we all are on this timeline of life. We have experiences, and these experiences affect us, right? Do your experiences affect you? Yeah, absolutely. They add to your perspective. Sometimes they take away from your perspective, right, depending on the experience. And these experiences show up all over the place. Sometimes these experiences we call good experiences, and sometimes these experiences we call bad experiences. We label them, right? I'm going to call this a past success, and I'm going to call this a past failure. So we have past successes and past failures, both in our business lives as well as in our personal lives, as well as in every aspect of our lives. And it's oftentimes because of these past successes and failures, these oftentimes will help us determine how we want to move forward, or we will allow them to influence our decision making, correct? If anyone's ever experienced a really bad day in the past, oftentimes that really bad day, I call them oops days sometimes, right? We have that oops day that happens. We don't necessarily plan on it, but when it happens, sometimes that oops day will affect what we do moving forward. You see this oftentimes with kids, right? They'll reach up to grab the stove. If it's on, that's called an oops day. It's no longer fun. They've learned something, and they will discontinue ever reaching up again for the rest of their lives. They won't reach up and touch that element because it hurts, right? They learn from it. But sometimes those oops days teach us something that wasn't really meant to be the right lesson. Right? Sometimes we take these lessons and we blow them out of proportion. I want to talk about that for just a moment. So if you're at home right now, I want you to stand up out of your seat, or if you're in front of a computer, just stand up. And if you're here in the room, go ahead and do the same thing. Put everything down and just stand up. Because I want to demonstrate what this means here for just a moment. I probably need to move over here so our camera can see us right here. Perfect. So what I want you to do is, on the count of 3, I just want you to hold your hands out like this to your side. And on the count of 3, we're going to swing them together and smack them so that they sting just a little bit. Everyone here at home, do the same thing right now. Just play along on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That sting? Let's try it one more time just in case. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You guys do it. Thank you for hurting yourself twice for me. I appreciate that. All right, go ahead and sit back down. That I can say was maybe an oops moment, right? That we can liken that unto maybe a past failure, right? That happened just a few seconds ago, so it's in the past already. I can still feel it a little bit. It doesn't really hurt anymore. I can just feel a little tingle, right? So that's a past experience and that past failure. And the problem for most of us is we are raised in a society that says, okay, because I had a past failure, that means that you'll probably have a past failure, so be careful. Especially in partnerships, like you hear this all the time, right? And we talked about this. I talked about this a little earlier, where your friends and family, if they've ever had a partnership gone south, they will now come to you, and if you're wanting to be an entrepreneur and wanting to step out and do your own thing, they'll tell you, well, be careful. Don't do this. I've done it, and my hands hurt, right? And it stung. And so they'll go around, and when we have those experiences, we tend to talk about them a lot. And so we'll go around to people and we'll say, hey, how are you? Tell me your name. Felicia. Hey, Felicia. Let's try that one more time. Whenever someone says their name, we're just going to greet them, okay? So one more time. What's your name? Felicia. Hey, Felicia. And so I'm looking at Felicia and I'll say, Felicia, I don't know how to tell you this, but about a minute ago, I smacked my hands together. And it hurt so bad. Oh, Felicia. Don't do it, right? Oh, my word. Don't ever smack your hands together because it's only a horrible experience, okay? Trust me. I've done it probably 3,000 times now, and I don't know why I keep doing it, but because it's such a horrible experience, right? So don't do it, okay? Just don't.
I'll never clap again.
But you were thinking about clapping a minute ago.
I was.
Don't.
I'm going to give it up.
Thank you. Don't clap, okay? right? We do this and we go around and the story it changes and it grows as we go along. And how are you?
Fine,
Tell me your name.
Sharn.
Sharn. Hey, Sharn. Sharn, probably about 2 minutes ago, I smacked my hands together. And have you ever put gasoline on your hands and then lit them on fire? And then let it burn for, I don't know, probably a few minutes? Right. Don't do that. Because that's what I just experienced 2 minutes ago. Right? You should never do that because it's horrible and it doesn't work. And I don't know what I was trying to get it to work to do, but it didn't work. Whatever it was, it just don't do it. Is that okay? Will you promise me? Thank you. Oh, thank you. Don't ever do that. And we continue on, right? And we go to the next person. Hey, how are you? What's your name?
Karen.
Hey, Karen. Karen, I 3 minutes ago, roughly, someone came in here. They ran in like a crazy person and chopped my hands off with a spoon. I don't know how they did it so fast because that takes time, right? So, and I have no more hands. So whatever you do, make sure you don't go places where people have spoons. That's what I'm taking. Will you promise me don't go anywhere where there's a spoon? Okay? Right, this is our experience of life. We take these moments, these experiences, and oftentimes, especially around partnerships, we may have a specific idea or a specific thing that affected us. Maybe someone stole money in a situation. Maybe someone lied to us in that partnership. Maybe the books were mismanaged. I don't know. Whatever went wrong. Maybe someone said that they had more expertise than they did or didn't have access to it or whatever. And we then create that story, right? We build that experience into something that it actually never was. We blow it way out of proportion. And instead of saying, hey, trust yourself, and when someone is lying to you, just trust yourself and trust that intuition, and make sure you have all the proper information and ask some good questions. Rather than saying that, we say, oh my gosh, don't you ever partner with anybody because everyone's a liar. Don't we do that? Isn't that what we do? We blow that way out of proportion. And because of that, because we believe that this experience defines us a little bit, right? Because that experience defines us, because that partnership maybe that we got into, or that business idea that someone else did that they told us don't do it because it's horrible, don't go around spoons because I've experienced horrible things with spoons, right? So don't ever look at a spoon, don't touch a spoon because, by the way, you think they're not sharp. Like slice my hands off, right? Don't touch spoons. Have you ever experienced that? Or someone who's really afraid of heights? Because they're afraid of heights, should we all be afraid of heights? I got some nods, right? We got some people in this room that are afraid of heights, right? But think about, you're probably afraid of heights because you probably fell from something at some young age. You probably fell out of a tree or off of something high, whatever it was, maybe off a ladder, and you hurt yourself. And so for the rest of your life now, you've developed this fear around heights. Maybe you had a sibling or a parent that threw you up, and for some reason as a kid that scared you to death. I don't know. But from that experience, you decided that, okay, I'm not just going to isolate that experience as an experience. I'm going to bring that experience and internalize it. And I am now fearful. I will be afraid of heights from now on. If I had experience with spoons, and not only am I going to be afraid of heights or spoons, but I'm going to tell everyone around me that they should also be afraid of heights and spoons. Because obviously, if I'm afraid and I had that experience, then all of your experience is probably going to be identical to mine, right? No, probably not. Right? All of our experiences are different. We all go through different experiences, and we all interpret those experiences differently. So the problem is when we begin to look at our experiences and blow them out of proportion, and we believe that is who we are, or that's the standard for us, then it sets a ceiling. It sets a ceiling that it disables our ability to create above that specific ceiling. And so if this is who we are, if this is what we've internalized, then what will be our results in the future? Yeah, they'll be exactly the same. Moving forward, we will create exactly the same as what we experienced in the past because we believe that is who we are. We believe that because someone failed with a partnership that we should just never partner. And by the way, if you have this idea that I shouldn't be partnering with people, what's the likelihood that you're going to grow your massive dream outside of yourself? Yeah, just everyone hold up their hand and do this. Yeah, this is the likelihood of you growing a massive dream. It's not going to happen. So, I know that we're laying this foundation, and we're laying it on purpose. We want you to understand that in order for you to create more, you have to get outside of yourself. If you want something done right, do not do it all by yourself. We live in a DIY society, so it's interesting because society tells us that if you want to create something amazing, you can just do it all yourself, right? This is what society tells us. Hey, you want to fix up that home? Sure, fix it up all yourself. They forget to tell you that, P.S., you also work 60 hours a week, and it's not, that DIY project, it's not going to take 3 days, or better said, a half an hour like you view it on the TV show, right? That DIY project is going to take you 6 months to a year, and at the end of it, you're going to, you will have ruined your relationships with everyone, even yourself. And, they don't tell you all that, right? They just, you see the glamour and the glory of what it looks like. So my recommendation is if you've got a big goal, get outside of yourself. Do those pieces and parts that are right for you, and then offload the rest of it. Find individuals and find partners that can come in and serve your life. When Chris called me up that last time and I decided to move my family from Florida out to Utah to be here and to grow what it is that we were going to be doing, I realized that I had an opportunity here. See, I was the kind of person that believed back in the day that I could do it all myself. As a matter of fact, I still have a piece of that in me, okay? It's still part of who I am. I'm very confident in what I can do. I love trying new things. But there has been a massive amount of power in teaming up with individuals that have talents that I don't. One thing that I'm clear on is I've got talents that Chris doesn't have. He has talents that I don't have. And there are many of you, all of you in the room, have specific talents and abilities that I also don't have, I don't possess. Now, we may overlap in some areas, but you have things that if I want to grow my massive big dream, I need to learn how to tap into your genius. And by the way, if we're always stuck in those past experiences, what's the likelihood? If we're always stuck in those past experiences, what is our likelihood that we will ever open ourselves up, ever become more than just these past experiences? What's the likelihood that we're ever going to let our genius out? And I have to say it right now, how dare any of us keep that genius inside? How dare we hold our greatness within? Partnering is nothing more than a vehicle for you to allow that greatness out. Partnering is nothing more than the ability for you to step outside of yourself and to create something bigger than who you are and to start to reach the masses. This is what partnering is all about. Partnering allows you to get outside of this and to understand and step into real power, and which is the power of choice, to help you create everything that you've always wanted. That's what partnering is about. That's what partnering does. My belief is that everyone here and everyone watching this, that you've all got dreams. You've all got these massive goals, things that you want to create, things that you've been thinking about probably for years and years and years. And for some reason, or for something that happened, it's stifled that for a period of time. Hasn't killed it, because when we did that visualization earlier, I know that you had things that were coming to mind, things that you still want to accomplish, that you've maybe set on the back burner for a while, but it's time to bring forward again. Identify what those things are for you, and then be willing to take some steps. Be willing to move forward. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to think in terms of partnering and partnerships. What I want to do is I want to go through an experience or an example right now. I want for you to do something with me right now, which is I want you to begin to believe and to think of, first of all, there are partners out there for me. Okay, so right now, just repeat after me. There are partners out there. There are people that will build my dream. Who are in alignment with my ideas. Okay, so right now what I want you to do is for the next 2 minutes, I want you to jot down every name that comes to your mind of someone who could partner with you on whatever your idea might be. Anybody. Don't judge it. Just allow your pen to start writing. I want you to start to write down all the names, and this is all for you, right? I want you to write down all the names of the individuals who could be potential partners for you in any venture that you're maybe thinking about. Could be real estate, could be a business idea, whatever that might be. Let's take 2 minutes on this. Go ahead. Don't judge the names that come to your mind. Just keep on moving forward. Write those names down. All right. Okay, so just a quick question. How many of you had names or people that came to your mind that you hadn't been thinking of previously? Anybody? Any experience that? Yeah. Okay, you've written those down. Hopefully, if you haven't, please write those down. My recommendation to you is as you begin to continue here to solidify your ideas, as you start to solidify your ideas throughout this day, find times to reach out to those people. Don't let this week end before you've had some initial conversations with some of those individuals, because the more you learn to take that intuition and to move on it, the faster your business will grow, the faster that idea will grow, and the more likely that partnership will come together. Okay? Awesome.
All right, so friends, this is what we're going to do right now. It's time to really jump into how do we do this whole partnering thing. Are you guys ready for that? Okay, so here's what you need to be taking notes on. During the day, we're going to cover these 3 things. How many?
3.
Find, share, and finalize. Find, share, finalize. This is how simple partnering really is. First of all, you need to know how to go out and find partners. And so in a moment, we're going to be bringing up a guest speaker, Marianne Denovelis. She's an expert at knowing how to maneuver social media in a manner to find the people that you're really looking for in a very intentional way. Number 2, share. What are you going to actually, when you find people who are interested in partnering with you on your project, whether it's a business or a real estate deal, then it's how do you actually share that? What does that look like? And after you've shared it with them and there's interest, then the last segment is a finalization of the deal, which is, all right, you found me, you shared what it is, I want in, what's the fine print? And we're going to be sharing all that with you guys today so that you really can jump into this partnering. So before we bring Marianne up and we jump into Find, Stephen and I need to have a fundamental conversation with you about partnering in forms of what does that structure really look like? And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about active partners and we're going to talk about passive partners. And as you take a look at that, we're going to draw a pie up here, and the question is, what is the most fair way to divide up a pie amongst 2 people if both individuals are creating an equal contribution? How many of you think it's not a trick question? How many of you think it should look like that? Is that these are designed to be fair, okay? So both sides look the same. The equity is the same. Now, in all partnerships, should things be 50-50?
Not always.
No, they shouldn't always be ours, because sometimes someone's giving a greater contribution, and if someone's giving a greater contribution, could they have more ownership?
Yep.
And so what we're going to do today is, again, going back to real estate, we're going to go with an example that we have an active member. We're going to define what active means. And then we're also going to have a passive partner. And we're going to define what passive means. And extrapolate this to your business that you want to launch. In the game of real estate, there are some things that you need to make a deal happen. Let's list some of them. What do you need to make a deal happen? Okay, you're going to need some money, and that would also include credit, and that money's got to come from somewhere. What's the other thing that you need? You need a deal, and you need the person that's going to do the what? So the active person is going to be the person doing day to day. The passive person, they're the ones putting up the financing. And generally, we reflect on that when we're putting a partnership together, and we keep it really simple, and we call this a 50-50. And that's where that really split comes from. This is what all my real estate partnerships in general look like. Now, there are nuances, like, for example, I could have a partner say, well, I've got the money. My father-in-law, we had the money to do a deal, but he couldn't use his credit for a slew of deals that we were buying out of state a couple of years ago. So we actually brought in a third partner. And that third partner, we gave them a 10 to 15% wedge of the pie and said, can we rent your credit? Can we use your credit for buying these homes? And like, that sounds risky. Why would I do that? I say, well, this is our track record. Here's our business plan. This is what we're doing, and here's how long. And they're like, oh, that sounds good. So you're going to pay me a little bit of money up front, and then when you sell the house, I'm also going to get a check? Deal, game on. And we went and bought a lot of real estate with that model. Now, Matt and I, my father-in-law, we were still 50-50 partners, but we took 15% of the total overall revenue and profits generated, and we gave it to the person that was using their credit. Does that make sense? Things can get a little complicated once you add a third member. We're going to give you later at the end of the day an LLC setup system to talk about the details of how you do that. That is based on this very simple arrangement. Me and someone else are coming together, and between me doing the work and my ideas and managing it, and this person bringing the money to the table, I'll do the day-to-day. They're going to handle some of the big picture decisions. And in the game of real estate, this person is only here for the big decisions. They don't want to get a phone call and say, hey, we've got a broken toilet. It's going to cost $200 to fix. They don't want to have those conversations in this particular business model. So they're there for acquiring the asset, and then also looking at when it's time to sell the asset, and do we sell it or refinance it to buy more? And if we sell it, are we going to go back into real estate, or are we going to split our profits and be done? So the money partner is there for the really big decisions, and the person that's actually using, bringing the deal to the table and making all that happen, then they're doing this part. And so this is just the very general layout that we're going to be referring to throughout the day. Now, how many of you can see how this would apply to your idea and what you're needing to do? Can you all see that? It's pretty simple, right? Like, you might have this incredible dream quantum of, I want to get out there and I want to be getting, I want to teach this health and wellness, and I want this seminar platform, or I want a storefront, and I have products that I want to push, and I want to create an alternative medicine to this approach. And you're thinking, well, I need some money. I've got the dream and I've got the experience, so I'm going to find a partner that has the money, and I'm going to do the day-to-day, and we'll come together, and guess what? This dream that's been sitting on the shelf actually can get birthed and come to life. Make sense? Can everyone see how what we're sharing here works? Can you see that you could have 2 or 3 or 4 cooks in the kitchen, partners on this deal? You could. Just know that once you get more than 2, you enter a magnifying degree of complication. And it's just very aware to be aware of that. Because, by the way, you need to understand that a lot of businesses do not survive. When you go into business, there's risk, yes? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why a lot of people will choose just the comfort of a job or the comfort zone of what they're doing, even if it doesn't ultimately get them where they want. That can be less scary at the time than actually doing something where you could lose money. And so there is risk, but there's also reward, and then partners need to be aware of that. So that is the framework that we're going to be referencing today. And going back to this idea then of, all right, with that in mind, we've got to find our deals. Then later we're going to talk about what are you going to share with them. Today, Stephen and I, for this real estate at least, we're going to give you our entire business plan. We're going to show you exactly what it is that we share with people, how we find the people with money, how we arrange that, put that into an LLC, finalize the deal, and we're off to the races. By the way, just the way Vaughn is. Vaughn, will you stand up for just a moment? I told him I was going to pick on him at some point today. I think it's going to happen a couple of times. But everyone say, hey, Vaughn.
Hey, Vaughn.
And one of the things that Vaughn and I have been doing the last couple of months is Stephen and I got with Vaughn and said, let's do an experiment. Let's pick an individual that we think on their own has a very low likelihood of success. I'm just loving on Vaughn. Listen, this stuff, without the training that you're getting today, how many of you can see that this takes a lot of guts and some know-how and some legalese that you may not be equipped for? And that's why these things don't happen. What I love about Vaughn is that Vaughn is ultra detail oriented. And I knew that all Vaughn needed was direction. And so we sat down a couple of months ago and we gave him that training and that direction. And Stephen and I knew that we could trust Vaughn to act on it. And he did. Actually, the system that Marianne will be sharing with you in just a moment, Vaughn's been utilizing that system, and he's been basically cultivating potential partners in the marketplace. He's been sharing the business plan with them. And as of the last month, Vaughn finalized his first partnership in real estate. They're technically under contract and getting ready to close on their very first deal. And Vaughn, and right now with this partnership, how many deals over time do you guys plan on doing once you build some momentum with this? What's possible?
The two of us have not. The two of us have not set a specific goal together, but I have a goal that I will do a dozen partnerships this year.
Okay, a dozen partnerships this year, guys. Give it up for Vaughn. That's really, really big.
And just getting through this very first one is, it's clearing away the cobwebs and being all ready, getting the details worked out, being OCD enough to make sure we get all of the I's dotted and T's crossed and all the connections made with all the power team that helped make it happen. And after that, I see it's going to be easy this year.
Yeah, and I remember sitting down with your partner, and he said, well, I'm in a position, I'd like to buy a home every 6 months. So we don't know what the future brings, but that partnership is you being able to help him and him being able to help you, and together creating a way to really help you both get more of where you want to go in life.
Well, and the other thing is that he had been putting money into a place where he was getting 7%, just a check every month, and they just took out bankruptcy. And had we not started this partnership a month or so ago, first of the year he was going to put another $100,000 into it. He only lost $45,000 instead of $145,000, so he's pretty grateful.
Awesome, guys. Hey, let's give it up for Vaughn, creating value for his partner. Thank you. Okay, friends, so what we're going to do right now, Stephen and I, we are going to relinquish the stage to a very, very capable woman. Many of you know that she grows businesses by understanding the needs of social media today and the way that that works. And what she's going to do is she's going to share her specific platform through using Facebook. It can be extrapolated in a number of other ways to find the right kind of individuals that you want to partner with, that you want to work with. And I want you to take copious notes here because she's going to share with you just one way of doing that. You've got your own network. You've got networking as you meet people. And Marianne's going to show you how to take advantage of one of the most powerful platforms today to find individuals that could make good partners for whatever your business is. Please give it up to Marianne Denovelis.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you today. We are going to be a very oracle today, meaning take lots of notes. All right? You may want to even pull out your phones and have your social media available so you can walk through some things as we're sharing, okay? I've been using social media to grow my business for several years, but how many of you have heard of the story of the Chinese bamboo? Has anyone heard that story? So the story of the Chinese bamboo goes like this. You plant the seed the first year, and what happens? After you give it, nothing. After you give it light and water and soil, nothing happens. The second year, what happens? Nothing happens. You continue giving it light, water, and soil, and then what happens the third year? Nothing happens, okay? But the fourth year, after you continue giving it light, water, and soil, and all of everything it needs, what happens? Nothing. But the fifth year, if you continue to feed it, nurture it, water it, give it light, soil, everything it needs, what finally happens? It grows exponentially. It grows at a very, very rapid rate, so much so that this specific type of bamboo was actually used as a means of harm to other people just by its growth rate. It is said that the Chinese people used to string their enemies up over this bamboo plant and let the bamboo grow through them as a means of torture. It grew that fast. Okay, Mythbusters, check it out. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about with social media. Now, how many of you, by raise of hand, have a Facebook account? Keep your hands up. I'm just checking. Okay. Get one. All right. Okay, you're going to be using social media quite a bit in your relations with others, in your relations with your business, everything. Now, we had maybe 1% of the room that doesn't have a social media account, and that's probably reflective of the demographic of social media. That means 99% of people are using social media. Now, if 99% of people are using social media, just tell me, if you're going to find your business partners in the 1% or the 99%, which one is more likely? Your partners are going to be in the 99%. So you want to be where they are. You want to be visible where they're hanging out, where they're looking at things, right? So we're going to go into a few techniques on how to use social media, but before I do, I just want to lay a foundation for everything I'm going to be sharing. And if I could download this via USB or micro USB from my mind straight into yours, plug this in and just download this, I would, because this is so important. If you don't get this, don't listen to anything else I say. This is how important this is. If you show up on social media with an agenda versus an invitation, you can smell it 5 miles away and it will send your people running. Now tell me about agenda versus invitation. What's an agenda? Yeah, agenda, and not just how it will benefit me and me only, it's how can I use other people to get what I want? And how can I impose what I think is best on another person? Agenda means I know what's best for you. Do I know what's best for another human being? That was a very non-emphatic no. Do I know what's best for another human being? Absolutely not. There's no way I could possibly know that. I don't know their circumstance. I don't know their future. I don't know their goals or dreams or ambitions. Even if I asked them, I couldn't know what that was. And there's no way on God's green earth or anything else that I can know what's best for another person. Period. End of story. And at the same time, I have a goal to buy 3 more houses this year. And I know I want to do 3 more partnerships to do it. So how do I couple that with staying away from having an agenda over somebody? I'm going to give you the word. It's authenticity. Write it down. Write it down online too. Authenticity. Be you. Don't hide anything. Don't hold anything back. Be fully authentic in your experience online. Now, a lot of people, why don't people hang out online? If people complain about Facebook, what are their top complaints? There's a lot of negative ninnies and downer dannies out there, okay? What are some others? Oh my gosh, you sit down and maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, or you more likely roll over and pick up your phone, because that's the first thing we do when we get out of bed. And suddenly it's noon and I'm still in my pajamas and I haven't eaten yet and I'm still on Facebook, right? So it can suck all the time away. That's another complaint. What are some other complaints? That's it? Oh, yeah. Squirrel syndrome, right? Like what did I get out here for? Why did I come online again? I don't remember. It's been 2 weeks. It'll come to me. Hang on. Okay, the distractions, right? Okay, what else? Oh, fake. Has anyone ever experienced fake online? Right? If everyone's hand better be up, because I know you have. If you've ever seen a photoshopped image, you've seen fake online, okay? People tend to not want to show up authentically. Hashtag don't be that guy. Meaning be you. Allow yourself to show through. Allow yourself to be visible and to be seen and to see the ups and to see the downs. People, I hear this complaint about being too negative online, because I'll hear the opposite complaint too. People just post the best of their lives and they don't ever show what's going really on, and they only see the shiny, and I'm so sick of comparing and blah, blah, blah. If you're real, you won't have that problem. Oh, airing your dirty laundry.
No, it's a weapon. I mean, first thing you know, you're being attacked by somebody from Croatia or something who's got your private information.
Right.
And I think it's a generational fear from the 50s and 60s.
So there's a concern of keeping your family safe, of not sharing your business or your stuff or your location. And believe me, I'm a mom. I've got 5 kids. I am very, very careful about how and when and what I post on social media. Just this morning, I reshared a post from 2 years ago. 2 years ago, she was 5 at the time, but my daughter had her appendix burst. And it was terrifying because it was burst for 10 days before we knew. We could have lost her. And it was by God's good graces that we didn't. A miracle happened where everything was caught in a pocket inside her body. We took her to the hospital and got it taken care of and stayed there for a couple of days. But I posted the video of her post-op when she's got her popsicle in her hand and she's reaching for the second one that doesn't exist. And, Mom, I'm trying to grab it. Where is it? I'm like, you got this, honey. You can do it. But I'm not posting her name. I'm not posting our location. I'm not posting, I'm being very careful, and I could go on for days about internet safety and security while still sharing my authentic story. Okay? So I want you to start taking some notes here. And this is more than just finding partners in real estate. How many of you, other than real estate, are in business for yourselves? Just curious. Raise your hand. Keep them up high. Okay, good. And what does your business need to thrive? You need people. You need customers. You need clientele and transactions to be taking place, right? Now, if 99% of the population, actually the statistical figure is 70% of the adult population is an active Facebook user every day. 70% of the United States adult population uses Facebook every day. Now, I don't work for Facebook, guys. Facebook works for me. Okay? Here's what I'm saying. They're hanging out online. Facebook ads is a multi-million-dollar industry. I have a friend that spent $1 million on Facebook ads last year, and he sells baby products to keep your door quiet when it closes, right? I don't know why, but those are a thing because of Facebook ads. Now, here's 3 things you need to keep in mind. We're going to use Facebook, but we're going to use it smart. Remember what I said at the beginning. If you show up as fake online, don't bother showing up online at all, especially when it comes to business, because when you get into business, just like Chris was saying, everything will be magnified. The way people perceive you, you'll be under a microscope. The way you show up, even if you're just going to the store in the middle of the night in your pajamas, true story, people will notice. I remember a year and a half ago, I was sitting down at a restaurant, and this lady saddled up to me. She's like, DeNavo, and whenever people do that, I'm like, it's DeNovelis. It's okay. You're Marianne DeNovelis? And I was like, yeah, who are you? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And we started this conversation. She'd recognized me from a YouTube video. Okay? This will start to happen the more you put yourself out in business, and you want to make sure that you're always representing your brand, so don't make your brand hard to represent. You are always representing your brand, so make your brand easy to represent. Make sense? Everyone say, make sense if it makes sense. Very good. Okay. Okay, now we're really taking some notes here. So the first thing you're going to want to do on Facebook is to grow. Now, you can hire a nice, kind lady or gentleman in the Philippines to do your click farm for you and build your friends list up to 5,000. You can do that. You can pay someone to do that. Do I want to do that? Why? It's not personal. It's not, maybe there's real connections on the other side, but I've never seen them before. I don't know how we got connected. But I do want you to grow your Facebook. Now, this is just like the bamboo. Okay, just curious, let me get a dipstick test here. Just shout out the number if you know, and if you can look online with your phones right now, because we told you to pull Facebook up and look it out. Check online too. How many Facebook friends do you currently have? 1,500? 4,000? 600? And there's no judgment here. They're just numbers. 1,700 or 17? Oh, 1,700. I've met people that have 2, so we're good. Okay? And I say they're just numbers, but they're not. They're people. But right now we're just looking at a number. Okay? 305? 385? Okay. We're working on getting that first one. Good. I'll be your friend. Okay. By the time you leave this event, I want you to have 50. Okay? Okay, very good. All right. Yes. No, you can ask a really cool question. Okay, so to look up how many friends you have, you're going to open up your Facebook interface and then scroll up to where it says friends, and it will give you a little number. Okay, how many of you know how many friends you can have on Facebook? How many will let... Facebook will let you have 5,000 friends. Now, you can have unlimited followers. Your page can even have unlimited followers, but the personal connection with the algorithm that Facebook has is 5,000. That's how many will let you have. How do we get quality 5,000? Because like I said, we can go to the Philippines and hire the people there and have them fill up our Facebook friends with full of click farm people. How do we find real friends? Right. So everyone turn to the person next to you and say, "Hey, will you be my friend on Facebook?" I'm serious. Pull out your phones. Look each other up. Make a new friend right now. Turn to the person next to you. Create a new friendship. We're teaching that you build friendships by your association. If you're in an event where you're looking to find partnerships and you're looking to create connections, do that. Pull out Facebook. Add the people in this group. Create a Facebook account if you need to. Create those connections and those friendships from people that you meet. I get Facebook requests all the time from people online. I have the blessing and the opportunity to be in front of a room like this, or in front of 300 or 500 or 700 or 100. I get people all the time that I get to be in front of, and I have a pretty recognizable face. Just saying. You know, just call it what you will, pretty or not. But people find me on Facebook, and after every event that I do, guess what happens to my Facebook? You have 99 new friend requests. And some of them are like, no, thank you. And some are like, absolutely. But every time I have one of those friend requests. By the way, does anyone have any pending friend requests? Just raise your hand if you do. I do now. You do now, right? Okay, here's what I love to do. After I put them through my 7 filter system, I have 7 filters that I put them through. If I don't know them personally, I put them through 7 filters to see if it's okay that we be friends. You want that system, don't you? Just a second. Yeah. But I put them through a very strict, and it's 7 filters, but it's pretty easy to follow. Basically, I'm going to vet them and see, do I want to be associated with the person? If it is a yes, and I do say yes to being friends with this person, then I'm going to send them a message. So, for example, if I got a Facebook friend request from you, I would say, hey, what was your name? I can't see because your hair's in the way. Hi, Amrita. Have we talked on the phone before? Have we talked on the phone before? I think, no? I thought we had, because I know that name. Anyhow, so if you were to send me a friend request, I would say, oh my gosh, I remember Amrita, because I like to say it like that. I remember her from the event. She had that really cool outfit that I was like, oh, she looks awesome in that. I'm going to accept that friend request, and I'm going to send her a message. And if I didn't remember, I would say, hey, Amrita, thanks for the friend request. How did we get connected? Or how did we find each other? And then she would say, oh, I was in the audience during that event you were at. If I remember, there's no way I'm going to forget your face or your name. Where I'm like, oh, my gosh, thanks for the ad. I remember seeing you at the event. How is that real estate system working for you? And then we'll have a conversation. We'll have a real, authentic, genuine conversation. I want to say this. I'm not against copy and paste. Thank you. I'm not against copy and paste. At the same time, if it's not genuine, don't do it. If you can, you've gotten these messages before, guys. You know what I'm talking about. You know these Facebook messages that come out and it's like 3 paragraphs long and you can tell they just changed your name or maybe they forgot to change your name. And you're getting the same copy and paste message that's blah, blah, blah. I'm doing this and blah, blah, blah. And will you like my page and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. And it goes on and on and on. And it's not a real conversation. They're just, we call that spam. Okay? Facebook knows what that is. They know what to look for, and they will flag you if you do it. And they will block you from using Messenger if you do it too much. Okay? So if I'm saying simply to save time, hey, thanks for the ad, how did we get connected? I can say that to 5 or 10 people because it's starting the conversation the same way. But I would always personalize it. I will always use someone's name. By the way, your name is the most important word in any language on the planet because it's your identification. It's how you identify yourself. So your name is the most important word, which means Karen's name is the most important thing to her in any language. So call her by her name. Okay? I'm starting up these conversations. I'm having conversations with people. I'm taking the time to actually reach out and make a personal connection. I want to know Leona. I want to know what drove her to find me. I want to know, are you just networking? Cool, I'm cool with that. Like, what do you do? Tell me about you. Awesome. I have more often than not people friend me on Facebook, say, hey, I just saw that we had 300 mutual friends. I don't know you. I don't know what you do, but I'd love to be connected with you because I'm totally just networking. I'm like, thank you for being honest. Thank you for telling me you're just networking. Thank you for not spamming me with, I don't know your name, but buy my product. Nobody likes that, so don't be that guy, okay? This is how we grow. So how do we grow with quality friendships? The first thing you're going to want to do is see who you have mutual friendships with. I know all of you have communities outside this room. You have religious communities, you have social communities, you have hobby communities. Every one of you does. So you have friends of friends in those communities. So maybe you are part of a religious group that gets together every Sunday like me. And I'm going to go and find the friends that I'm already connected with and say, oh my gosh, I meet every Sunday in the same classroom as you, but you're friends with Leona, and I'm not yet. And I know I am also in the same room with this woman every Sunday, so I'm going to send her a friend request. That's a quality friendship, right? So let's say you're part of a group that doesn't meet together in person, but you're part of a Facebook group. If you're writing down Facebook group, underline it, circle it, star it, exclamation point that puppy, because we're talking about Facebook groups. Facebook groups are some of the most lucrative things I do, and I never transact money in groups. Does that make sense? Facebook groups are some of the most lucrative things I can do, and I am never transacting money inside the group. So if I'm going in, by the way, what are some examples of some groups? There are 2 kinds of groups. There's interest groups and support groups. What are some examples of those 2 things? Yeah, so there's a support group for suicide awareness and prevention. Okay, that's one group. All right, what are some others? What kind of Facebook group? Tell me about it. What does it do? Interest or support? Interest. Okay, what's the interest? Okay, so there's a personal development group, okay? There's the left-handed lawnmower operators group. I swear, I haven't looked at it, but I swear it's there, okay? What other kinds of groups are there? Okay, there's, college groups, alumni groups, homeschooling groups, all different kinds. What other kinds of groups? Fan groups. Yeah, sports teams fan groups. I wouldn't know anything about that. Apparently there was some colors playing versus some other colors this last weekend, and one of the colors won. What other groups? For sale groups. Yeah, Facebook is so good at knowing its audience. It actually created a new system for those for sale groups to have a way to create ads and listings. It has affected the other posts, and I'll get to that. But what other kind of groups? Coupon groups. Yeah, seriously, there's groups for everything. Do you know how many groups I'm a part of? Over 200. I'm in over 200 different groups. Why? Good question. There's no limit on groups. Actually, Facebook did me a solid the other day because I got a message from Facebook directors who are in charge of groups, and they said, Marianne, we see that you admin so many active groups so well with such high participation. We're going to add you to a private, by invitation only, Facebook admins group who admin other groups. So I'm in direct contact with the programmers who program Facebook groups. So I know it's kind of cool. I kind of have a shoe in and have their ear for what improvements we want to make in Facebook groups. So one reason is because now write this down. If this is for any social media, if they give you a feature, they want you to use it. If they give you a feature, they want you to use it. So if they give you the Facebook Live feature, they want you to use it. They're going to make it easy to use. If Instagram gives you a story feature, use that puppy. Because Instagram will like you if you do, just like Facebook sent me a solid, right? If a social media platform creates a system or creates a feature, use that feature. Get familiar with it. Find the bugs. Send some feedback. They listen. They really do. Okay, now the question was, why do I join so many groups? Why am I a part of so many groups? Now, there's great ways to be part of groups, and there's really not fun ways to be part of groups. Give me some examples of some not fun ways to participate in groups, or ways that you don't like. Let's say you created a support for single moms group, for example. I'm just picking one. And you had someone come in that group and says, I have the best lipstick in the world. You are going to love it. I tried 25 colors today, and here's 5 pictures with all the different colors, and here's my website, and you all should come and shop with me, and here's a coupon. What would you do? Of course, but you're the admin. What would you do in that group? Okay, you'd get a hold of her and say, not cool. This is support for single moms. This isn't a place to sell lipstick. Okay? And if you do it again, so long. Have fun selling your lipstick somewhere else. Okay? And now I'm not saying lipstick is bad. I'm not saying advertisements are bad. There's right ways to do it and there's wrong ways to do it. But if you're participating in the group and if you're in business for yourself, this is another thing to write down. My information, this is for me, my philosophy, my information is free. If you want to spend time with me, and it's going to require an investment. By that I mean add value to the world. Produce content that's valuable. If you don't have good content, don't bother. If you're not adding value on social media and online, don't bother. Now, adding value can look many different ways. Adding value could even be asking questions or getting a poll from the audience. Adding value could be teaching a lesson or something that you learned without asking for anything in return. Add value to those groups. So the reason I'm in so many groups, gosh, I'm in groups. I teach about so many different things. I'm in entrepreneurial groups. I'm in buy and sell groups. I'm in marketing groups. I'm in photography groups. I'm in entrepreneurial groups. Everything I've ever had, I'm in dance groups. I'm in a flash mob group. I'm in everything that I've ever had an interest in, I'm in a group for it. Because that's where my connections are. That's why I'm connecting with those quality people. Now, if I go into a group, am I going to friend request everyone in that group? Nope. Because groups are free and anyone can access them. And I don't want to be connected with everybody. I don't want to be connected with the guy who has a fake Facebook account and just is using it for ne'er-do-well purposes that might be in that group. I'm not going to friend request everybody in that group, but I am going to find good friends in that group. So let's say I'm going to go into a group and I post something of really high value and it starts a conversation. My husband, for example, he's part of a code of character group. Super cool group. Are you in that group? Yeah, he's super cool influence in that group. And the admin of that group keeps messaging me. He's like, will you please keep posting content? I've never had this much interaction in my group before. So he'll post content, and then a lot of people will comment on his content, either for or against. But he'll get friend requests from that. And those are good, qualified friend requests. And he will friend request the people that comment on that because they've already had an interaction. They've already started a conversation. Is this making sense? Nod and say yes if this is making sense. Very good. Okay. So you're going to grow using those groups and using those good connections. You're also going to grow based on the connections that you already have. Friends of friends. Okay? Grow. Okay, I have two more. The second one is build. What is it? Very good. This is what we touched on with building your content. Now, there's several ways to do this, but I've narrowed it down to some things that Facebook likes to see. And again, what was the first point we made before we ever got started? Be authentic. Be authentic. So I'm not going to put garbage out there just for clickbait or engagement bait, as it's known in the industry. Engagement bait is something that is just trying to kick in a Facebook algorithm so that you can get more engagement later on. And it's not authentic. Okay? And you'll see these all the time. Oh my gosh. I just made a post about this on my Facebook wall because it was driving me nuts. Like these posts that say, Facebook just changed their algorithm. Only 25% of your people are seeing your post. Comment below so I can see more of you. And I was like, no, they didn't. And that's not how it works. And that's not how you get friends. Okay? Like, yeah. I and guilty. I've done this before. And then I was like, that is so dumb. It's not working and it's not cool and people don't like it. Okay? That's not how you get friends. Okay? Don't succumb to engagement bait, and please don't post engagement bait. Please don't. Be authentic. Ask real questions. Get real opinions. Ask about things that matter to you and that matter to other people. Back in the early days of the telephone, there used to be a switchboard operator. And this is the person, does anyone remember calling the operator? Okay, this is the person that you would call, and you would say, connect me to whomever. And then they would take a physical cord, and they would plug it into you, and then they would plug it into the other person, and then they would be like the NSA and just listen to everything you said. True story. Do you know what the number one most common word in all of those documented conversations was? The number one most heard and spoken word. Carte blanche. What was it? It was I. What does that tell you? Say it again. That the most important thing in your world is what? Is you. And the most interesting thing in your world is what? Is you. I'm not going to judge it. I'm just going to know what it is. So if I'm trying to connect with someone, would it serve me well to be interested in the most interesting thing to them? Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? If I'm trying to connect with somebody, I'm going to find out what's interesting to you. I'm going to be interested in what you're interested in. This is a lesson that my mother taught me. I would come, my first shopping trip to the store when I was 12, I bought my own shampoo. I was so proud of myself. I walked all the way there and I bought my own shampoo, and it was coconut scented, and I brought it home, and I sat in my mom's office and I waited on her couch for her to be done with her phone call, and I wanted to show her my shampoo and my toothbrush that I bought all by myself. And my mom sat and she listened and she waited, and she got her eyes wide excited with me that I had done this thing, and she listened to me and she watched and smelled the shampoo with me and analyzed the bristles of the toothbrush with me because I thought it was so cool. She cared. My mother is the perfect example of this. She was interested in what I was interested in. She'll come to my plays and shows and ballets simply because I love it. And she'll celebrate with me and cry with me, and she'll do all of that. So build relationships of trust online. Build real relationships. If you need to get your engagement up, do it authentically. I'm not saying don't boost your engagement. That's not what I'm saying at all. You need to know how to do that, but you need to know how to do it well. Correct? Correct? Yes. Okay, good. Here's the last thing you need to do. Just watching, because the energy in the room kind of shifts. Hang on, watch this. I'm hearing it already. Oh, did you feel that? Did you feel that? It went like boom. And everyone's like, but you just told us to do this and this, and now we have to get money from people? Did you raise your hand if you felt that shift in the room? And I'm not judging, it's okay. How do we do that? Now that gut feeling of now it's time for the money conversation. If you are doing these appropriately, this is just a natural element. If you are doing these appropriately, this is a natural element. I just got a text this morning saying, hey, I saw this lease option course that you have. Can I buy it from you? It's like, yeah, I'll call you at lunch. I got a text the other day on Facebook, a Facebook Messenger. Hey, I saw the Uplife oils. I need to reorder some. Can I come to the office and buy some from you? Yeah, sure. Now, why is it that way instead of, will you please buy my thing? I have a thing that you need. Buy my thing. Why is it this way and not this way? Because I have a relationship of trust. Because I've already added value to their lives, and I've created a cosmic vacuum. What do I mean by cosmic vacuum? Exactly. I've provided enough value that the value comes back. Now, am I afraid to do a call to action online? Heck no. Am I afraid to ask for the money when it's time? No way. Do I shy back when the money conversation happens, and do I shy away when they say, oh, I don't have the money, or that's too expensive? Do I do this business? Heck no. And as an entrepreneur, what happens when you do? What happens to your confidence level when that happens? Does it go up or down? And if you're not confident in your product, how does their confidence level respond? Does it go up or down? Now imagine you and I are in a sales conversation, and I've just presented my product to you, and now it's time to name the price. And I fudge up my words, and I get nervous, and I say, well, it's $1,000, but I can cut it in half for you. In fact, I'll cut it in four. In fact, can I pay you to join my program? What's my confidence level in what I have to offer? I have no confidence. So why would you want it? Why would you want it if I'm not even confident in selling it? That's the question. Stand behind your product. Get behind something you're willing to put your name on and your reputation on. So how do we monetize on social media? I just saw you do the thing. Build a relationship of trust, and when it's time to ask for the money, do so. It's okay. I made a post earlier today that says, hey, I'm looking for 3 new partners in real estate. Comment below if you're interested. Threatening or non-threatening? Okay, high or low energy? Yeah, it's high energy. I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm looking for 3 new people. I'm looking for 3 new partners in real estate. I made the post about 10 minutes before I got on stage. I'm going to share with you if I have an opportunity to see what's going on with that post, okay? I've spent the last few days just touching base with people and connecting with people on a genuine basis. But then I made that post. Any post that has a call to action is a business post. Any post that has a call to action is a business post. What do I mean by call to action? A comment below is a call to action. When I'm asking them to do something in response, that's a call to action. Any Facebook ad that says click here, that's a call to action. That's asking them to do something, okay? I don't put call to action posts out every day. It's probably once or twice a week, depending on what my business is doing at that point. But comment below, is that high pressure or low pressure? Totally low pressure. PM me, high pressure or low pressure? It's low pressure. I will usually do a comment rather than a PM me, because a PM me takes extra time and it gives up an extra step to do, right? You just say comment below. You are the entrepreneur, right? Whose business is this? This is your business. So this is time to take the bull by the horns. And when I say monetize, there's a very specific thing I want you to do that usually people don't think of. When you have a call to action post, you've made it very, very clear that you're trying to do business and you're not hiding, and people know that when they comment. So do you have permission to get in touch with them? Yeah, they said yes first. They said yes first by commenting, right? So when you have a business post, not only are you going to follow up with every comment in the feed, that will do good things to the post, get it seen more. You're going to follow up genuinely with every single comment in that feed. You're also going to check on the responses, and those are the like, the heart, the laughter, whatever that thing is. Like, write this down. This is how I made my 6 figures using social media, through one post. Last year I made 6 figures with one Facebook post because of this follow-up, okay? It built a pipeline, and it just kept going and going and going. If you follow up with every like and comment on your Facebook posts, that gives you permission because they said yes first. They did what? They said yes first. And the way you follow up is just by messaging them and saying, hey, I saw that you liked my post. What did you think about it? What did you like about it? Hey, I saw that you put a little love sticker on my post. Tell me what sparked your interest. Am I having real conversations with people? Could those conversations turn out to be nothing? I always just thought it was neat. I'll say, great, hey, thanks for liking it. Here's the thing. I know before the end of this year I'm going to buy 3 more houses, and I know I'm going to do it through 3 more partnerships. I don't know who those people are. I don't know if I sit down with you and you're going to be the one or not. You know what? I don't care. I really don't. I couldn't care less. What I care about when I sit in the chair across from you is getting you what you need. As an entrepreneur, you're a problem solver. So if my product isn't for you, that's fine. I don't care. But I do want to know, and you want to know too. And that's why we're sitting across from each other. So be a solutions provider. You can't know what's best for another person. You're not entitled to that information. You don't know. But the way to monetize is to find out what is and help them get there. Don't let anyone leave your airspace without finding them a solution, even and especially if the correct solution is referring them to someone else. I can't solve everyone's problems. I'm not meant to. I only know what's best for me. I don't know what's best for you. But I commit to doing my best to show you how I can help you get there. So try this on. You have an assignment. Build your Facebook friendships. Create real, authentic friendships through Facebook. Find those friends and friends. Before the end of the day, can I give you a challenge? 6 of you said yes. Can I give you a challenge? Excellent. I want you to have 100 friend requests out in the hopper before the end of the day. Sound good? Sound good? Okay, awesome. Awesome. That is your challenge. If you have any questions, just come find me at lunch. I'd be happy to touch base with you and answer those. Thank you so much.
Can y'all give it up for Marianne DeNovelis? All right. One of my favorite things to do is to have lunch, and so we're about to go to lunch. Sometimes when I'm at different things, then I'm looking at the clock and saying, when do I get to go to lunch? You get to go right now. We're going to be coming back at 1:20. 1:20. And then we're going to start recording at 1:30. The reason why you want to come back is because that's where we're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty. We're going to be handing out that business model, and where you'll actually have it in your hand and you can go, wow. They'll probably teach it before they hand it out, because otherwise if I ever hand out a flyer, then I might as well sit down because people can't hear me anymore, because they're like, oh cool, he's got it all written down, so I'll just read it. One of the things that I wanted to just mention, Marianne says that she has 7 different levels that she determines whether someone gets to be a friend with her. I usually have 1. I just have 1. I look on there and I look in the mutual friends, and when it says Marianne DeNovelis, I was like, cool. Because I know that she's already vetted that person, and they're probably a good person to be one of my friends. And so that's usually the way that I determine that. So just know that she does have a really powerful vetting process. Now something, because I know that y'all want to go to lunch, but one of the things that you may or may not have heard when Chris was talking, and it was a nugget of gold, and it was proximity to power. John Maxwell taught me that I'm going to be the average of the top 5 people that I hang out with. If the top 5 people I hang out with are broke, guess who gets to be number 6? Me. If the top 5 people I hang out with are successful, then the likelihood is I'm going to be successful too. So the word of the day before we go to lunch is a word, and it's propinquity. Propinquit. Propinquity. And what it means is it means the proximity to. If I'm in the house with the people that I want to learn from, then I have the ability to have more influence. In the political process, which I've been a part of, then there are many times that I've been in the room when there could have been 500 delegates in the room and there were 20 delegates. My influence in that meeting went really high, and I was able to make the decisions because I was around the decision makers. And so the word of the day, to get that idea of the proximity of power, make this one of your words. Propinquity is your new word, and now you got a new word of the day. And I'm going to, remember, we're going to be back at what time? 1:20. We're going to start recording at 1:30, and that's where we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, the details, and much of the things that you came here today to learn. So y'all have a beautiful lunch, and we will see you back at 1:20. All right.